Good afternoon. Welcome into Wager Talk TV for First Pitch. Join me today, Dave Koken, Brian Leonard, Hunter Engelhardt. I am Andrew McGinnis. I'm going to start with you, Hunter. You sent me some stats, and I'm going to let you have the opportunity to kind of let us know how things are going with you, because I'm pretty sure you're on fire right now in the MLB, also doing some NFL as well.
Yep, things are good. I'm on 18-8 run, I believe, or 18-7 run in MLB for my past 26 plays. I think I have 3 ties in there. I have another play today for one of the early games, so you can get that. And I also have a play in the 2-pack that's for the late Monday Night Football game tonight. So I got a 2-pack up there. I went 2-1 yesterday. I was ready to strangle Carson Wentz and the Eagles after that second half. That was my only loss, unfortunately. But hopefully we can keep this going and we can have another good week.
Yeah, you can find Hunter over at Sports Memo, and I think, Hunter, you're speaking for every Eagles fan. I'm happy I'm not one of them, though. Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports. How are things with you since last time we talked?
Everything's going well. Baseball's been okay for the last couple of weeks. Not making a ton of money, but it runs that way. Perfect 3-0 college football. Unfortunately, didn't have the same success in the NFL. And my big winner in the NFL was against the Philadelphia Eagles as I had Washington. So I was very happy with that result, but overall not a good day in the NFL.
And last but certainly not least, Dave, I know this is an MLB show, but congratulations to you on your big 5% play in college football. An outright winner open up, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe plus 7.5 dogs or plus 7 dogs. So congratulations. How are things with you in the MLB and NFL and all across the board? And what can we grab from you here on a Monday?
Well, let's see. The football, Coastal Carolina was the big play, and touchdown dog goes up 28-0. You're in pretty good shape.
You might have had the right side, Dave. You might.
Yeah, I think I had the right side in that game. Won a best bet in North Carolina, lost on Tulane. That was the free play. They came on in the second half, but a little too late. And then went 2-0 yesterday with a couple of easy winners. Cardinals outright against the 49ers, and an under that was never in doubt at all, again, in the Bengals-Chargers game. I thought it was a really easy handicap in that one. Bengals are going to be a fairly conservative team while the quarterback gets used to playing in the NFL, and the Chargers have to be conservative because Tyrod Taylor is not a starting quarterback. He's just a placeholder. So that was an easy call. As for today, I have a free play, and it's a very small play, a minimum 2% play on the total in the hockey game between the Golden Knights and Stars. You can get that on my homepage at Wager Talk, and that is all I will have today. I have nothing in the NFL. I'm not playing any MLB or KBO. I don't force plays. Don't need to. I'm winning a lot of money for myself and the customers, and going to keep it that way. And I'm looking at college football. Actually, I'm spending most of the day capping college football. A couple of games that have jumped out, and we'll post those tomorrow if there goes.
Yeah, and speaking of plays that are posted to the website, every single play at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, $9. It's $9 Monday. So everyone knows $9 Monday. Of course, tomorrow will be $2 Tuesday. So Mondays and Tuesdays, both great days to check out a handicapper and grab a play from them. And not just plays for today. A lot of NFL plays up, college football plays up for the weekend, and looking down the road as well. For myself, I have a 2-pack up in the MLB. I'm currently plus 51% ROI on the MLB season, looking to build on that with this short slate tonight. So 2-pack up for just $9, originally $25 a piece. So recommend you head over to wagertalk.com and grab those plays for just $9. We'll move on here, guys, and we'll get to our first game here. We'll start with the Twins and White Sox on a short slate. A game that should be very, very highly watched here. We'll start with you here, Brian. I'll get your thoughts. Twins around minus 135 favorites, total around 9. Or not around 9. It is 9.
Yeah, this one was something that I was looking at earlier. I thought I may have a play, and it got priced out of it. Dylan Cease, you have to take his past with a little bit of he's just not the same pitcher this year as he was in the past. And that's a good thing because he was one of the worst pitchers in baseball last year, and I took advantage of him a lot of times. But this is a guy they felt pretty good coming into the major leagues, and he was highly thought of. He hasn't been terrific this year. He's got a 54 average game score his last 7 starts. My concern with Cease is his home runs he allows. In the major league, he's allowed 24 home runs in 119 innings. That's 2 home runs every 10 innings. And now you're playing against a team in the Minnesota Twins that we all know can hit for the home run, and it's also a stadium here that gives up some long balls. So can't back Cease here. Berrios has been very good against the White Sox. 55 average game scores last 5, 55 average game scores last 7 plays overall. But the line has gotten a little bit out of hand for me here. Both teams have been very hot as of late. I think they've both won 8 out of 10. They're burying my Cleveland Indians, and I'm not even sure Cleveland's going to make the playoffs at this point. But wanted to play the White Sox, can't do it because of the price. Wanted to play the Twins, can't do it because of the price. So I'm going to be this one out.
Well, it's somewhat the same boat for me. Just a little background. 2 or 3 years ago, I used to give out games real early. I mean, the opening numbers would pop, and I'd get them out there the night before. And I stopped doing that because I personal service customers, and they were saying, look, I can't get that line. And it's moved 20 cents, and I can't, and they'd be really frustrated. So I just, you know what? There's not enough people can get these numbers, so I'm just not going to put out early games anymore. So I wait until the morning. This is a good example of a game that I would have been on early. Twins minus 115 was appealing to me. Not at 135. Can't do it. It's not so much the 20 cents that I lost, but it no longer falls into the playable category for me. It was at 115, but nobody was going to get that. So and that's why I don't post those at Wager Talk either. If I had posted this game last night, most of the customers are not going to see it because it's too late, especially for East Coast customers. It's too late. They're going to get up in the morning and say, what the hell is this? Twins minus 115 and my line's 135. All you got to do is piss off people doing that. And the intention is not to piss off people. So I'm out of the game. I'm not playing it at Twins minus 135. I think they're the right side. I'm not going to bet it myself. And I'm not giving it out.
Hunter, the topic seems to be the price here. Is it something that would talk you off this Twins team as well, or do you feel like it's a bet on spot for them?
Well, I think what they said is spot on. I mean, if you the only play here, in my opinion, was the Twins, and it was early. I mean, we looked to the 20-something cents that it moved there. But as we move forward, as we know, multiple states are starting to legalize online gambling and more with cell phone location and stuff like that. So I think as we progress in the years to come, I think Dave can probably back me up here and say, getting on these early lines is going to be a lot more accessible now for people across the nation. Once 40 or 50 of the states have legalized sports gambling, you can go get any line you want. Hopefully, like I said, I'm here in Illinois. We actually are one of the states that's grateful enough to be able to online sports wager based on location. DraftKings, FanDuel, other casinos in the area like that. So. It's just a matter of if you live in a state that doesn't have it, then unfortunately you don't have the opportunity to get those early lines, or you might have to go a different route, which I don't want to talk about on here. But as far as this game goes, I mean, like I said, it's the value is on the Twins early. It's lost. The good thing about Cease is he's got a 1.72 ERA at home. Berrios is nobody on. Guys are hitting 234. Runners on 243, it goes up, but scoring position is 182. And that stat with pitching with runners on and in scoring position is really big to me when I handicap these games. It's about the third time Berrios is going to face the White Sox. First time, we all knew what happened in that opening day game with him versus Giolito. Second time, he rebounded, only allowing 1 earned run over 6. So in my opinion, I think it's priced too high for the Twins right now, but if it was earlier, I'd be on it like those guys said.
Closing remark from you, Brian?
Yeah, I just want to touch on what Dave was saying earlier about when to give out the plays. That's the good thing about Wager Talk. If a line moves too much, we'll pull the game down. If there's no longer any value on it, I mean, we're all looking in, as Dave pointed out, it really pisses the people off that can't get a number like that. I've been a professional bettor for a long time, and I buy other services, and they'll give out a play at -3 in the NFL. All of a sudden, it's gone, and nobody else can bet it. And that's why betting is so much easier than selling picks. Is we can find like there was a look-ahead game line in the NFL. I was able to get that line because I knew it was wrong. Well, now the line's open up, and it's not there, and I can't give it to clients, or I can, but it's not the same number. It's just one of the best things about Wager Talk is, and the handicappers will even call in. I'll say, hey, this line's got past my number, as Dave said. He had it at a certain number, and it's no longer available. Pull it down. We're into this for the long run. There's plenty of guys on Twitter that'll talk about a game they bet on the overnight at a crazy number in one little sports book. You don't need that from us.
No phony lines. And by the way, it's kind of changed with football as well. I used to be, it's kind of, I got known for this. My Sunday night plays in college football, I would give out, doing the Stardust show, I would give out college good games for the next week on Sunday night. And I think it was 1997. I basically couldn't lose. I mean, I've always been good in college football, but this was a year where there was a contest that year, and I hit 78% in college football that year. It was the Sunset contest, and it was just sick. Yeah, and that was having to play 6 games a week, by the way, and I just couldn't lose. And what was happening on Sunday nights was I'd give the games out at the Stardust, and Pinnacle, which was the biggest book on the planet at that time, they were moving the lines as soon as I gave out the games. So nobody could bet the games at that number. And I don't even give out Sunday night games anymore, because now one of the things you're seeing is basically there are very few books that are offering any kind of limits on Sunday night, or even the games themselves. Most of them are waiting till Monday mornings now. So it just ties into why there's a lot of benefits for players out there. This is not one of them. You just have to wait for widely available numbers. And if you're in this business and you're giving out plays that are not widely available, then you're kind of running a scam as far as I'm concerned. If you're giving out games that nobody can get, that's bullshit.
Right. Well, my 2 cents on that would be people on Twitter that are posting their picks for numerous leagues. The second that those odds come out, if I was wearing a cap right now, I'll tip my cap to them. However, if you're expecting other people to take those plays, they're not going to have those, like Dave said, when they wake up. So that's just my only issue I have.
Well, and here's the thing:
it's getting the Dodgers at -150 when they eventually turn to -170. Hats off to them, but nobody's going to be able to tail at that price.
No, it's not hats off to them, because they're not betting any money on that, because the limits are so small, they can't get anything down on it.
Right.
What
I'm saying is, though, nobody can tail that. Nobody could be able to tail that, and that's the issue that I have. And they expect people to want to tail their plays. Anyway, as far as stuff goes at Wager Talk, though, because this is on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, and what these guys are saying, to me, that's why I'm a big advocate for a package. This is $9 Monday, and it's a great time to test the waters with a handicapper. Every single play is $9. However, if Dave released a college football play right now, as we were talking, you would get that emailed to you the second that he clicked the button, and you would know what the line was, what its analysis is, so on and so forth. However, if it was posted as a package for a couple hours, that number could change. And that's pretty much just what my point regarding that. All access packages will always be greater, because you're going to get that right to your email the second the play is released. Our next game, guys, just 2 key games we're going to go over today. Then we'll scan the rest of the board. A couple double headers on the board today. Padres at the Dodgers. What a matchup we have here. I'm going to go to you first here, Hunter.
Well, I have the Dodgers named a starter yet?
No,
I haven't. No. I haven't seen anything. So
by the way, it's Dodgers at Padres, not Padres at Dodgers.
So the Dodgers haven't released a starter yet. I refuse to place a wager on any game where a starter is not involved, because that's where 99% of my handicapping is involved on starting pitching. But I could comment a little bit on Lamet. First time against the Dodgers, 5.2 innings, 2 earned runs, but he only had 2 strikeouts. And the interesting thing about the Dodgers is their average against ground ball pitchers. Lamet, a sinker ball pitcher, but his sinker results in more fly balls than it does ground balls. So they against average ground ball and fly ball pitchers, they're hitting 229 currently, and they're only hitting 231 against power pitchers, guys who throw 97 plus. So I do like Lamet here at home. If they were playing at Dodger Stadium, I think it's a different story. But without knowing who the Dodgers are going to throw out there, it's really hard for me to comment on which way I would lean or what I would do, because 99% of my handicapping revolves around starting pitching.
It's a fascinating matchup. I think Dodgers is going to be a bullpen game, because I think this would have been, they could have gone Kershaw here, and I guess they're going to go with him tomorrow instead, from what I can gather. So these Lamet numbers, yeesh. First time through the order, batting average 107 and an OPS of 293, 33% K rate the first 2 times through the order. Well, he has been outstanding. The Padres are 7-2 when he takes the mound. And I think this is a bigger series for the Padres than it is for the Dodgers. I mean, this is the regular season is more meaningful to the Padres than it is for the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers from day one, okay, let's just get through this, and they played great ball, but they're waiting for the postseason. The Padres have put a lot into these regular season games. We'll see if that has an impact come postseason. But that kind of makes me lean to the Padres here. The problem is I actually don't like going against these bullpen days, because you don't know what the rotation is going to be. You don't know how long anybody's going to be out there. It's just too many unknown factors. So, I mean, I kind of feel like the Padres might be the side here, but there's just too many X factors here that I don't know about for me to actually put money on the game.
Brian, we'll get your thoughts, but also, if you could, you're always talking statistics, and we'll get Hunter and Dave to get their thoughts in if they want to as well. Billy asking, what websites do you guys use for all these statistics about ground ball, fly ball kind of stuff? Any take on that? Where do you get your info from?
I actually just responded. I currently have about 8 to 10, depending on with umpires. If umpires are listed, then I use a little more. But I currently have 8 to 10 different websites that I have bookmarked that I use for multiple different types of information. But for ground ball, fly ball, I use Baseball Reference.
Brian?
Yeah, Fangraphs is also very good. Baseball Press for lineups and bullpen usage. I forget the name of the site that has pitcher versus hitter stats. They've also got weather on there. I mean, there's a lot of sites out there. Search around.
Yeah, Brooks Baseball is out there. The Fangraphs I use for this show, basically, I'm using Baseball Reference and Fangraphs. Just have a little thing up there where I can go to the site and check it out. As for this game, just a couple of things. Lamet's last start, he won 111 pitches against Colorado. I believe that's the first time he's gone over 100 all season long. Something to keep an eye on. His second time he's played LA. Last game, his game score was 59, which is very good. Although, as Hunter pointed out, he only had 2 strikeouts in that game. And this is a guy who's a big strikeout pitcher. I can't talk much about a team that hasn't released the starting pitcher. But I will say a lot of what I do is lefty-righty. And when you're the manager and you've got Lamet in there, who's a right-hander who's going to go 6 innings, you base your lineup on who can hit a right-hander. When you're going with the bullpen guys, they flip it up. You might start a right-hander, he goes 1 inning, then they bring a left-hander in. So it really hurts your situation and starting lineup when you do a lot of matchups with lefties and righties. So that's one of the advantages of having a bullpen start, is the other manager has to commit. And is he going to pull a guy in the 3rd inning when you could possibly have another pitcher that does something different coming up? So that's something to take a look at. Most of the time, we all know that these games, these lines are being bet on, and so much of it goes by the starting pitcher. And so a lot of people will see not a minor league guy, but a 1 inning starter out there, a bench guy, and they'll figure, well, he stinks. Well, he does stink, but he's only out there for 1 inning.
Well, we see a game like this, and the first thing Hunter says is, hey, do we even have a guy out here listed? And so my question to you guys, and I don't even know how much live betting you guys do, but is this an instance to trying to get a feel for the game, see what the managers are going to be doing, see how the game feels
You
out
still
and
don't.
try and
You,
get
but
a
you
game
don't,
wager.
because you still don't know what the rotation is going to be out of the bullpen.
Right.
Yeah, you don't
Not
know.
I guess
like-
you
they
can see
don't
you can see who they first throw out there, but you don't know who's coming next.
Yeah, but you don't know
Yeah, you
who's
don't know if
coming
it's
in the
a long
fourth or
reliever.
fifth inning.
Yeah, you don't know if it's going to be a long reliever guy, that guy
Mhm.
every pen has for
They
3 to
used 8
4
guys
innings.
yesterday.
Right.
There's no way of knowing that.
So how does anybody openly go ahead here and say that they'd be confident to take this Dodgers team with the Padres team playing the way that they are?
That's why I skipped the game.
Well, it's a key game, so I'm just speaking from generality. This game is not on my card. I have not bet this game, but with all the question marks, I hate the word question mark with handicapping. Same thing with NFL Week 1. If there's a question mark, I'm either fading you or passing.
I actually like it. I want to eliminate games. I'm not a high volume guy. I don't, if I've got a baseball card where it's like 7 games that I like, it's like, oh, I'm in trouble because I'm not betting 7 games. And now I've got to hope I eliminate the right ones. I like the cards where I come up with maybe 2 games that I like. And the rest of them I had question marks and threw them out. And those are the days where I know I'm going to have a good chance to win.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fading those teams or I'm throwing it out.
Yeah, this is 2 different ways to look at it. Dave and I have been doing this for years. He has no problem. Like you had the KBO. I mean, when all that came about, I said, I don't know anything about any of these leagues. I don't want to consider myself to be an expert on it. So I took those 4 months off. I didn't, if there's nothing that I know that I can bet that I am confident in, I'm not going to do it. Dave, on the other hand, looks at the opposite. He likes the variance. And a lot of guys out there do, because you're going to be ahead of the market in a lot of it. And he had all that success with the KBO. I know guys that were betting table tennis that were killing it. But I'm no table tennis expert, so I had to sit out.
I think in general, the topic of regarding that, we don't want to get too off topic here, but is it, to me, Brian, when I look at that, it's almost like a fresh set of eyes. It's like we've never looked at the league before. So it's we have no bias towards any team, no bias towards any pitcher, any batters, managers. Dave learned to hate a few managers. He didn't hate them last year, but this year he learned to hate them. And also to your point, Brian, I actually have the exact same opinion as you. I'm not going to just randomly tomorrow consider myself, an expert in cricket. However, Dave and I did a show Monday through Friday talking KBO to kind of validate that we were doing our work and doing our research on those games. Guys, we had a comment. Go ahead, Hunter. Yep.
I got one comment on kind of like what Dave said earlier here, that the Dodgers don't really care as much during the season, I don't think, as the Padres do. And if you're looking for an angle to bet this game, since we don't really have an awesome card tonight, I don't think you can place a bet with any negative odds on it. I don't think it's a terrible spot to bet the Padres. But I would stay away from them in the first half, because if it is going to be a bullpen game for the Dodgers, they're going to throw their freshest arms out there first and then save their weaker guys as the games go on. So I think the question marks of who they're going to bring in are going to rise as the game goes on. So I would stay away from the first 5. But if you want to throw a shot at it and thinking that these Dodgers teams and bullpens are beat up from yesterday, then I would put a shot on the plus money money line on the Padres for the full game.
Great point there from Hunter. Guys, we had a comment on Friday. The guy said, why does Andrew not seem to understand that Dave doesn't want to play or talk about these doubleheaders? And it's just, I'm looking at this the board. Look at the odds board right in front of me. I have two monitors. I look over, and it's just instinct. I have my screen in front of me, and the three panelists, Dave, the co-host, and it's just instinct to throw it to somebody. And I guess some of the days I just wasn't looking to seeing which ones they actually were, I guess, the doubleheaders. So for the record, to that guy that commented, I've learned my lesson. The sticky notes are there, and I don't want to be in Dave's bad book. So without further ado, we have a few of them. So I'm going to start with you, Hunter, and then we'll go to Brian. We'll roll through some of these. We're going to start with Pitt and Cincy. First of all, obviously Bauer getting a huge number here. It's around minus 245, 250 now.
Yeah, it's really hard to find value in that at minus 273. A Pirates team, I think they've lost like 4 or 5 in a row or whatever it is. But I want a more comment for this on the Phillies and Marlins. with JT Realmuto being out, in my opinion, I'm a big Phillies backer. I won a lot of money on them on their winning streak that they had there over the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it's been. But I mean, we can see what his meaning is in that order with the way this team has played recently. I mean, that is a huge hole in the middle of their order that is not being filled. And it just shows you why he's the best catcher in the game. He just has that big of an effect on the team. And this Phillies bullpen cannot make up the gap, in my opinion. So I'm off on all Phillies for the time being until they show me that they can win without Realmuto.
Is there a play for you, Brian, here on Pittsburgh Cincy Game 1?
No, I can't go against Bauer. He's pitching very well. His last 5 games against Pirates, they've only got 1 home run against them, and this isn't exactly a home run hitting team. That's a concern you have to have when you're playing in Cincinnati, because that's a launch pad sometimes based on the weather. But line's too high. I'm going to pass.
Well, we'll throw it right to you with the next game, and then we'll let Dave follow with Philly and Miami.
What next game?
I think
Philadelphia and
Phillies,
Miami.
Marlins.
Oh, Philadelphia, Miami. I'm sorry. Well, they are playing the doubleheader here, right?
No,
No, that's the only one. Okay, I got
that's
you.
a single.
That's the only one.
Look, Brian trying to confuse me right away, just like that, trying to confuse me.
I don't know where you're going with these things. I got my spot open here, but Pablo Lopez, like him, but he's been terrible his last 2 starts on the road against Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Game scores at 36-17. Dave pointed it out. Dave's one of those guys that watches a lot of sports, and we can always tell when a guy just doesn't have it. He's been getting a little bit lucky. That's why I always say, baseball to me is the most important sport to watch, because you can see if somebody's getting pinched by the umpire. Don't like Vasquez. Never have liked Vasquez. But my money would be on Miami, but I'm going to sit this one out.
Well, I mean, if Pablo Lopez gets himself straightened out, Miami's probably not a bad side here, especially with Realmuto out of the lineup for Philadelphia. But that's the problem. I mean, his last 2 starts, he just fell apart. 2 starts back, he just had control issues. And that always worries me when I see that out of a young pitcher, because it'll often, veterans correct themselves in a hurry. Younger pitchers don't, and they can go on streaks where all of a sudden nothing's working. They lose their confidence. And boy, I mean, it looked like that was the case with him last time out. He was just dreadful in the this last start. I forget the order. One was Atlanta, one was Tampa Bay. It was a total train wreck. Couldn't throw a strike. When he threw a strike, it was down the middle. I'm not confident that he suddenly gets it right back together again. I need a buy sign from Lopez before I get involved with him again. The problem on the other side is it's Vince Velasquez. He started 4 games this year. The Phillies have lost all 4 games. His numbers as a starter, first time through the order, a .310 batting average and a 1.134 OPS. So he's clear. This has been talked about for years with Velasquez, because he's got a great arm. And they want to make him a starting pitcher. And he's just not a starting pitcher. I don't know whether it's mental. I have no idea. I'm not the pitching coach. But whatever, he's not bad coming out of the bullpen. But evidently there's something in his pregame when he starts that is a problem for him. And he just goes out there and just gets lit in the first innings of games at times. And there's occasions where he'll go out there and be great. He's an impossible guy to handicap. He's got that Robbie Ray syndrome, where if you think you've got him, if you think you're dialed in on him, he'll do the complete opposite. So, I mean, the only thing I could suggest here is, with Lopez going badly and Velasquez not exactly being good as a starting pitcher, and a couple of bullpens that are not exactly trustworthy, might not be a bad spot for an overplay. I mean, this is a game where you could see a lot of scoring.
Hunter, I'm going to go to you here with that Oakland-Seattle. Of course, this is game 1. I know you mentioned you don't have a play or an opinion on all of them, but is there anything you can recommend for us here at the game 1?
Like I said, I'm not on it, but the big injury we have there in the A's, I think really hurts their team as well. I like to play the A's against left-handed pitching. Gonzalez has been surprisingly good for the Mariners, but I still like this Oakland A's lineup better than I do the Mariners. So for that opinion, it's too expensive for me, but I'm going to stay off.
Was there a thought
What
there,
is
Dave?
this? No, I'm looking at the chat here. Want to become famous. Buy followers, primes, and views on bigfollows.com. Well, that's bullshit. You can't buy followers. Okay? What you'd be buying is bots. Get that horse shit out of here.
Yeah, nobody wants that. And nobody believes that at all either. We'll go with you, Brian. Anything for you on this game one?
Yeah, we're talking about, no, I don't think anybody's mentioned the starters. I believe this is the Luzardo-Gonzalez game. The other one, I don't believe that we know at this point who's going to start. But yeah, a lot has been made about Oakland being 9-0 against lefties, but their WRC plus is 100, which is league average. So it's not exactly that they hit lefties. They just have their pitchers must have pitched very well in those games. Kind of like Seattle here, as we talked about the two lefties here, and you don't see that very often. But Gonzalez's last 5 starts against Oakland, he's got a 55 game score, which is 5% better than league average. His last 7 starts, he's been excellent, a 62 average game score. This is a guy who, for the most part, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, maybe 1 a game, a little slightly over 1 a game. Zardo's been a guy who is highly touted. His last game out was very good. In fact, he played Arizona at home at a 70. Last time out at home, he had Houston 67. He's been on the road twice out of his last 7. Texas, who was terrible offensively, he had 53 against them. And the Giants, he got hurt pretty bad with a 19. So not a big Luzardo fan at this moment. I think Seattle's probably got some value here, even though we're going against that 9-0, which I think it's one of those numbers you can come up with a number for anything. The Chicago White Sox undefeated number, now that's a real one, based on their WRC plus on the season. I didn't have a play today in baseball, but if I did, this would be the closest thing. It would be Seattle with Gonzalez against Luzardo in game 1.
And Mike Minor's going to go in.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say Mike Minor has been announced as the Oakland starter in game 2. Seattle still hasn't named one.
Yeah, and we're not going to force any plays out of anybody, but Brian, I just want to ask you here. We're seeing a Pitt and Cincy game 2, total of 7, minus 150 favorites here for Cincy. It's O'Connor and Keller. Are there any initial gut instinct thoughts from you, or again, these doubleheaders are just really tough to handicap?
I've got DeSclafani in the second game for Cincinnati.
That was the original. They may have changed it. Hold on.
I'm looking at the Don Best screen right now.
Dan O'Connor right now on the SPR line service.
Oh, okay. So there's a perfect example. We got 2 different starting pitchers listed in the second game for Cincinnati.
So Dave, if we wanted a reason why we don't,
O'Connor.
If we wanted a reason why we don't do these, that's the reason.
It's exactly the reason. That's exactly the reason.
The second game of the doubleheader, there's many reasons not to do it because you don't know who the lineup's going to be. You don't know how the first game worked out. You could have used your top relievers in the first game, and maybe in a situation where they won't be able to pitch in game 2. To bet early on in the second game of a doubleheader, that's not me. I can't do that.
Dave, Atlanta, Baltimore, is there a player for you in that one?
No, I mean Toussaint. He hasn't pitched in like 4 weeks, so I don't know. I would expect he's not going to be out there for a whole long time because they don't go deep with him anyway. And the guy's just he's a tease because he's got good stuff if you watch him pitch. I mean he's a kid who's, you can see why he was a first round draft choice, but he's never put it together. And he'll go out there and you look at him in a start and say, wow, I can see what they see in him. And then he'll just go out there the next start and you can't put anything in the strike zone. Jorge Lopez has been around for a while, and he's just a guy. He's a roster filler. The Orioles have gotten so much mileage out of these guys this year. It's amazing. But I can't play the Braves here. I know that because Toussaint against any lineup is capable of getting hammered. And if I had to bet the game, I think I'd take the Orioles. But at that price. Not like I think they're going to win, but I just think they might offer a little bit of value at a huge underdog price, but not enough for me to bet it.
Yeah, Dave, I agree with you. I mean, this Orioles team is a team that, they're not scared to take advantage. If they're presented with opportunities to take advantage of opposing pitchers, they do. I know we didn't see it against that 4-game series against the Yankees. It looks like they only scored 3 runs over the past 4 games. But if you go back and look at their track record, I mean, they're putting up, at least 5-6 runs a game for the most part. So a team that could score runs and is confident to score runs against the guy who's got good stuff but can't execute it, that's just something I'm not looking to get involved in as well.
Brian, you touched on in our earlier game involving the White Sox there about a price, staying off a game because of a price. To me, I feel like that phrase might be used here in this one as well. I mean, looking at the price that we're seeing in this one, I could see why the guys would make the argument here for Baltimore. I like the Braves, but not where this number's going.
Yeah, this is going to be a game with a lot of scoring in it. So I think the underdogs have a little bit of an advantage there, but don't want any part of either one of these starting pitchers. And when you take a look at how these teams have done on the season, Baltimore's league average at 100 against WRC plus. Atlanta was number 1 until they dropped off. The Mets had a big weekend. So Atlanta's 127. They're tied for second with the Dodgers. So both teams have hit pretty well, especially Atlanta against righties. You got 2 pitchers that are going to give up some runs. Problem is everybody knows it, which is why the total's high on this game. So I'll be sitting this one out with the rest of the card today.
Quiet card for us, especially not including any of the doubleheaders. Any closing remarks from you, Brian?
I've got one football play up for the weekend. That's for $9. The early bird last week was the Washington Redskins. And so that was a nice payoff for us. This line's going to move, kids. So let's grab this play early on. You can get it for only $9.
And Hunter, from you over at Sports Memo?
I just got another. There, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to talk about to really have an in-depth show with games here. And I like to give out a pitcher prop. I started doing that the past 3 times I was on. Currently 2-1 right now on the free pitcher props. I'm liking Cease under 4.5 Ks. Today at -105. I see it right now. So hopefully we can go to 3-1. That's my pitcher prop today.
And Mr. Koken, any closing remarks from you?
No, it's a day off basically. I've got the hockey game, very small play. It's free. I wasn't strong enough to sell it even for $9. I mean, could have probably sold a bunch of them the way I'm going, but it's just not a very strong play. Hopefully it wins. And I should have something up tomorrow. And I think I might be the $2 handicapper tomorrow at Wager Talk. And if that's the case, I will have a college football game up for the weekend.
Excellent. And for myself, just my 2-pack, MLB 2-pack for just $9, 2 plays, originally $25 a piece. For now, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. This is First Pitch right here on Wager Talk TV. For Dave, for Hunter, for Brian, have a great night. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the baseball. We'll see you tomorrow right here on First Pitch.